Hi, and today on the Fittest Fat Kid You Know, I talk about my week. I talk with a champion, a true hero of the common people, about mindset and fitness routine as well as diet, because his diet is probably a little bit different than yours. All that and more today on the Fittest Fat Kid You Know with me, the Fittest Fat Kid You Know. And joining me today is that champion of the common man, Sumo Dan, because I forgot how to pronounce your last name in that short period of time. So Dan, let's start off by letting everybody know, what is that last name?
My name is Dan Kalbfleisch.
You screwed it up too.
It's a German name. I don't know. People call me Sumo Dan. I don't know my name.
So Dan, as you know, I'm on this fitness journey, which is not so much a smooth walk down the path, nearly as much as a couple stumble and fall down the hillside, eventually falling off like the coyote. So this is the end of week 4. I weighed in today at 246 pounds, 0.6, which is up 0.2 from last week, which I don't get. On top of that, my fitness goals for the last week were 3 walks of 3 miles each, but concentrated just walking 3 miles at a go, and 3 workouts. So finally, the walk. I got all 3 of them, about 4.5 to 5 miles each. So very happy about that. Got 2 actual workouts in, including Saturday with Scott.
The one I saw, yeah.
Yeah, you were there. And Dan was there, and we're going to talk about this, but Dan was there working on training his sumo skills for upcoming nationals?
North American Championship.
North American Championship, which then lead to the World Championship, correct?
This will be for the World Games. Yeah. Yeah.
I never get to say anything like that, but damn. But I was there and spent 2.5 hours boxing, lifting weights, and mostly crying in my soul because I was in so much pain. Didn't get that 3rd workout. Kind of, sort of, little, maybe, but I did some kettlebell stuff, but more to be on video because I'm trying to do the Instagram thing, so I'm vain. And so I guess it's a success. It sounds close to a success, a little frustrated on the weight, but...
Well, I don't know what you consider a workout, but what I saw you doing on Saturday, that could have been 2 workouts.
I pay him to flatter me.
No, I'm talking more about the sweat that I saw. So.
Oh, that was just the suffering. That was my body. That's a whole body crying thing. That's what I assume sweat is your body just relaying its misery to the world while it's trying to cool you off. I'm trying to get back to where I physically was. Physically was. I'm trying to grammatically get back to a 5th grade understanding of the English language. You've got what I would call a championship mindset. How did you develop this kind of degree of focus? Did I surprise you?
Well, sometimes a mindset is something you don't think about, you know. You just do it. If you want to do it, you want to be the best, you have that mindset. So I never really thought about mindset as different. It's just more of, this is something I want to do and something I want to be good at, so I'm going to do it. You know, there's not too many things in my life where I have that kind of mentality. So,
but that's the important point. So in other aspects, because we're similar, we're basically walking clowns.
Because we got big feet and red noses.
Yeah, just about, and like mostly communicating through honks.
No, what you mean by that is that we find a lot of things funny.
We're humorous people.
Yeah, okay.
I don't mean that, like, we're not constantly putting on skits for people. We're not constantly trying to be joking. And totally unrelated to that, I want to throw this chair through the window because of the amount it's squeaking. But I digress. For the most part, you're easygoing, you're funny, you're just this warm, friendly guy, and yet somehow, not out of nowhere, but there's this part of you that's a switch, and that switch gets turned, and you compete at a championship level against incredibly strong people, and you are a winner. And somehow you're able to make this switch because it's certainly not coming out of the same mindset that makes you everybody's favorite jovial guy.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I think that comes with just wanting it. I mean, just this is something I want, and this is something I'm good at. And it didn't come right away. I still find it, fun. I still try to have fun in the ring and make jokes, but like certain times, it's like, no, this is what when I'm training somebody or training myself, and right now we're getting ready for that competition next month. Like it's like this is our serious time. So
on Saturday when I was there, having a full body cry boxing with Scott, you were there training with your protege, would you call him?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right. He became a student, and this is something actually when you get to the mindset. Zach came along. His name's Zachary Johnson Dunlop. He's competed. This is back. He came from Illinois, which I came from.
Give his Instagram if he has one.
I have no idea what it is.
Zach, we tried for you. I tried for you.
It's something weird. It's something weird. He doesn't post much, but no. So Zach, he came from Illinois and to California, where I was. So he's like, all right, let me start training with you. He already knew a little bit about sumo, and we were just training him, and he wasn't the best, but I was still in that. I guess if you're going to change mindset, now that you mention it, I wasn't in that mindset of training him. I was in that mindset of just training myself and using his level of talent to get myself better, even though his level wasn't up to my level. And so when we started training for this tournament and starting in July, I basically went and studied what my body did to succeed at sumo, and tried to verbalize it, because Zach's a pretty brainy guy. He does well with verbalizing and understanding what his body is actually doing. And so once we started doing that, so I had that mindset of a coach now. I wanted him to take second. I want us to go to the North Americans and take top two. And his light bulbs kept going off, and he just changed. And I guess his mind and his body started merging together and understanding what needs to be done to do these moves. And so, yeah, my mindset changed as a coach, and I think it made him better, and it's making me better. So,
well, they do say that if you really want to learn something, teach it to somebody, because it does, as you said, it just reinforces the basics, and you've got to really think about what you're doing. For lack of a better way of putting it, it's an incredible amount of strength, and strangely enough, or at least to virgin eyes, not just strength, but an incredible amount of balance, an incredible amount of a certain type of agility. You're not going to be a ballet dancer, but the way you move when you're in your sumo, there's a degree of lumbering grace to it.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, well, I appreciate that you see that, because when people only see sumo on TV or film, it's a punchline. It's like, the guy's wearing a diaper, or he likes to eat because he's big and fat, or like, I'm a small character, I'm going to go against this big guy who likes to bump bellies. So when people actually see the real deal, whether it's the pro sumo in Japan or even international competitors who are world level, they get to see, it's like, wow, I didn't know you're that flexible. I didn't know you're that. Because you need to be strong. You need to be flexible. It is a sport. It's wrestling with a very specific goal, is to push your opponent out of the ring or onto the ground. I always tell people sumo is easy. It's easy to win, but it's very easy to lose. So you need to be balanced, and part of growing your legs, getting strong legs, and even part of growing your belly is to have that center of gravity down near the ground, so you're not easy to push over. Your weight is here, and then your weight is pushing into your opponent, push your opponent up out of the ring, or pushing, throwing him onto the ground. So, well, thanks for recognizing that I'm an athlete, Bruce.
Oh, no problem. I mean, you gave me $5 to do it.
There we go.
No, it's very obvious to me. Like, there's a world full of skills that I will never possess. I did one. You invited me in one day to do practice. This was back. Funny enough, I was more suited to be part of that practice when I weighed 180 pounds than I would be today at 246, because at the time I had much better balance and much better flexibility. And right now I'm definitely top heavy in a way that I'm not in control of.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things when,
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing with sumo, especially. I mean, again, you were lighter, and when we were doing the sumo exercises, you need to be a little more athletic. And then when you gain the weight now, and that's a weird thing about gaining weight, like gaining fat. If you're not gaining muscle, you're just gaining fat. Every body is different. You have no idea where that fat is going to displace, and like, women do this all the time, but even when men do it, they're like, my belly starts pouring over, or when men get the breasts that are like,
yeah,
you just didn't realize, like, because like some bodies, oh man, like this thing right here on my chin, if you guys are watching, so that's the last thing. Like if I would lose weight, that's the last thing to go. I saw a photo when I was 1 year old, and this thing was right here on my chin. But I know a lot of fat guys who are like, like actors who have like this chiseled chin. I mean, their body is fat as heck, but like their face looks like they're normal. Like me, I always have this fat face,
I gained 78 pounds. There's only a slight amount of rounding versus where like my normal chin, where I get it all. I get a little bit in the legs, but like comparatively speaking, just a little bit. It's all dead center. Like it is a apple shape. It is just like all, and mine's always kind of loose.
Huh.
It never gets that, like some people gain weight and they've got like that firm continence to their fat.
Yeah.
Not me. I am very, very spongy with my fat.
Yeah, I mean, everybody is different.
Yeah.
So you'll see, like, when you see pro sumo wrestlers, there's some guys, obviously, when they start out normal people. But they're doing the exercises and they're gaining weight purposely to put on, the weight specific places, which is hard to do. Like you said, you don't know where you're going to put it on. But again, some of the guys have odd shaped bodies because they put the weight on, and as long as you put the weight on and you're still doing that exercise to know how your body reacts and how your body can use that weight against your opponent. I mean, that's more key with sumo.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because I'm kind of curious, because like my entire goal, of course, is to eventually not have or have as little love handles as humanly possible, more than anything else. Though it would be nice to have nice pectoral muscles. But that's kind of the secondary to not having a hangover of the belt.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, the entire way you structure your diet, your exercise is a bit different than most people, because the goals are completely different. So as a sumo wrestler, as somebody who, shall we say, had to grow into your sport to some degree?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
How does that work? I would love to know how that works.
Well, it's something I would not recommend for everybody.
So you hear that? Don't do this. Dan says don't do this.
Unless you have the self-discipline. Okay, so when I started sumo, I was 275. International competition, they have weight classes. They have like 3 or 4 weight classes now, but I would cut down to middleweight, 253, which is 115 kilos and below. So I would go from 275 down to 253 my first few years of doing sumo.
Is there like a sumo league for people weighing 170 pounds?
Well, 187 is the lightweight. So if you're under 187, yeah.
Is there a featherweight?
No, not now. There's not enough. I don't think there's enough people, because the pro sumo in Japan is no weight classes. It's just open weight. Everybody fights everybody. So that's the size and the strength is key. You want to be,
you can't be 187 pounds going up in that division.
It's rare. You got to be very skillful in your movements, and So it's rare. There've been a couple guys under 200, but that's very rare. Most of the pro sumo wrestlers are around 300. Between 250 and 350. So, some of the top guys. There's only a few guys who are at 400, but that's rare. I forgot what we were talking about, Bruce.
You're like the degree of how your diet, how Sumo Dan's diet looks, how it works, and where did you start? How did you do it? And what do you do to kind of do, the marbling build that you build for yourself? Because like I said before, you're like a nice cut of prime rib. You've got like the nice fat marbling going, but there's a lot of muscle there. I'm bacon.
I'm starting to get hungry. I'm starting to get hungry, Bruce.
Look, I evaluate everybody at the gym from the basis of, if we're going to be stuck on a desert island, who do you eat first?
I'm definitely number one.
Yeah, you're like...
They start at my calves, and then...
As long as there's some salt available, you're a good 2 months.
Yeah.
Anyway, that conversation's not weird at all.
Oh, yeah.
Back to the diet.
Okay. So I would cut down at first, but then I had an opportunity to train with a world champ from Mongolia, and he was about 350. But I couldn't hold my own because I wasn't heavy enough. So I started gaining the weight, and so basically...
what did that diet look like?
It was more a lot of white rice, a lot of meat, and I would wake up, eat regular breakfast, go to the gym, work out real hard, come home, and then eat that meal, and then sleep. And so...
Like when you're saying white rice, are you talking like half a bag? Or are you talking...
cooked, it's probably at least 4 cups of white rice. Probably 4 to 6 cups of white rice. Plus, a few chicken breasts or a couple steaks.
When you say now steaks, are we talking lean cuts or fatty cuts?
No, fatty cuts. I mean, they taste better. So.
Oh yeah, they really do. They really do.
Yeah. So I mean, it was just basically meat. In pro sumo in Japan, they live in what they call stables, or basically houses. So they train, and then they make them big meals. It's called chanko nabe. It's a sumo stew. They serve everything over white rice. It's, stewed with different meats and different vegetables, and they just keep pouring it over rice and eating and pouring it over rice. So it's very caloric, but it's healthy for you. So I wasn't, everybody's like, oh, you must eat fast food and all that garbage. No, you don't eat that. Just like healthy meats, healthy vegetables, and white rice, and then fall asleep right away, because that really helps put that nutrients where it wants to go in your body. So.
Well, the body does most of its changes during the sleep cycles, because that's when human growth hormone gets released. So it is a lot of food, but sumo wrestlers grow in a way that normal fat people don't at all. It seems to me, and I've not been pushing them out of rings, they seem very, very solid in their mass and the way they build muscle. Because you're build wise, you are quite the meaty boy. And and even when you were losing weight prior to getting back into training again, and you had gone down to like what, 260 before? Last year.
I guess, so I think when we saw me, I don't think you saw me at 385. 385 was my heaviest ever recorded.
Never saw you at 385.
And I think I went down to
You broke under 300.
No, I didn't. 310 for a day, to say I lost 75 pounds in a year, but then I slowly gained it back. I didn't want to necessarily lose the weight, because I didn't know I was doing sumo anymore, so I wasn't sure of how much weight I wanted to lose. But I just started losing weight because my friend taught me how to do it. I never knew how to lose weight before, He taught me about calories and actually having my body feed off the stored calories. It has never done that before.
So here you are. You weighed about 385 pounds.
So okay. So first we were talking about me gaining the weight, which I did purposely, because I wanted to put the muscle on, be able to train with the world champion Biamba, who's since passed on, but oh man, either friends pass away,
it hurts.
Happens.
It never stops hurting you, no matter how long it's
Yeah, but I got my weight up, and I trained with him. I got better at sumo, but I needed that weight on in order to get better at sumo. But then I got to 385, and that's the problem. That's where the willpower came in, because like here I can eat anything I want, and I did. Just gaining weight. I felt so.
That's so funny. And I did.
Oh, I ate. But
there are buffets that remember me in their nightmares.
The thing is, like, I always felt like a silverback gorilla. I'm like, I felt strong, and the weight never hindered me. Other than tying my shoes, that was the only time I felt that weight. But I felt strong. But I looked in the mirror. I'm like, and the mirror fooled you, because you look at the mirror straight on, like, I look good. But then you look at a photo and like, oh my God, that's me. So that's what got me. I wasn't doing as much sumo at the time. This was a few years back, and then I asked Doring, who was an actor, basically like, oh, you lose weight for these film, or to get ready for filming sometimes. Like, how do you do it? He goes, I'm going to take you to the store. I'm going to buy you this stuff. We're going to show you how I eat. I'm like, no. He's like, no, I'm going to do it. And this is what I learned in life. If someone wants to help you, honestly and truly wants to help you, let them help you. So he basically told me about calories and stuff. And this is all stuff I learned, right? You learn this stuff in high school. So a lot of people do learn this in high school.
Yeah.
But when you learn it in high school, your body doesn't react the same way. You still have that kid metabolism. So when you're learning this stuff, it's like, oh, my body doesn't react to that. And you think it's BS because your body doesn't react to that. So when it actually, in an adult, you're like, you have to relearn this stuff. So we basically counted my calories. He goes, count how many calories you eat in a day. And it was like 7,000. That's what I counted. And then he's like, okay, well, at your weight, your body could take 3,500. So I was eating double the calories my body needed to survive. So he was telling me, he's like, okay, well, if you're just maintaining, right, you're maintaining. If you want to lose weight, you actually got to cut 3,500 calories, out of your diet. So we cut it in half, and it took a few weeks for my body to actually take out that, be able to take out.
Right, to adapt to like, okay, because at first your body gets confused. For the first couple of days, your body's just waiting. Then it starts doing the adaptation. It takes a couple weeks. And then you start humming along.
Yeah. Your body doesn't know how to take out that food, take out the calories from the stored fat.
Now, when during the program Doring effectively put you on, am I saying his name right now, Doring? Because I really want to get that right. I feel like we've talked enough that I should at least be able to pronounce
call
his.
Him Jason.
I could, but everyone, you call him Doring. We all think of him as Doring, and I just thought it was Doran. I didn't hear the ing. And I'm from Philadelphia. I drop G's all the time. So, was it a low fat kind of thing? Was it a balanced kind of thing? Was it a low carb, relatively speaking, kind of thing?
Well, it was. He was more about low fat, and good protein. I forgot. It's been a while. He put me on a certain percentage protein, percentage carbs.
Was it like a 30-30-40?
It was probably more of a 40-40-20. I think 40 protein, 40 carbs, and 20 fat. He's anti-fat, but it's really more about the calories. He's like, you're cooking, because I was still cooking, eating healthy things, eating vegetables and eating meat and things that's healthy. He's like, okay, well.
He just played around with the ratios to get you solid and also cut out the calories so that you were in a zone for you to need more energy than you were expending.
Yeah. But part of getting rid of the fat, because it's like, okay, you're cooking stuff in olive oil. Why not just some olive oil spray? I'm like, oh, I don't know. And he's like, you don't need it soaking in that olive oil because that's extra fat. And yeah, olive oil is healthy for you, but you don't need it. So it was more about calories, to be honest. Like, I never paid attention to calories. But when I actually wanted to lose weight at the time, like now it's kind of, I went back up because I'm actually training again. But
and you need the mass.
I do. I mean, yeah, my mass is good. My weight's good where it is right now. But yeah, when I wanted to lose the weight, I didn't know how. So now I do. So when I retire, and you know how to do it too, because I saw you your big jump down. You know.
Yeah, and for me, my way is completely different, though it does include being in a calorie deficit, because for me, I do keto. So I'm mostly eating fat. My percentages are about 70% fat, 25% protein, and 5% or ideally under carbohydrates.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not trying to avoid things like saturated fats. Like olive oil is perfectly fine for me, but my go-to is grass-fed butter.
Okay.
For the various nutrients that comes into that. But still with that, there's people who try to do keto. There's a lot of people who believe that the amount you eat doesn't matter. And it very much does.
Yeah.
Because you need to have a caloric deficit. Now for me, I probably walk around eating 2,400 calories for me to maintain. So my target is about 1,900. And if I can hit that, then I should be fine.
Yeah, well, that was one thing that surprised me. It's like your body doesn't need that many calories. You know, even after that, I could survive off of less calories. But did I really want to?
At some point, depending on what you're doing, you have to live.
Yeah.
So Liz's birthday is on the 16th.
Oh yeah,
we're going away. We're going somewhere for the first time in 2 years. So dogs are going to doggy daycare for a couple days. We're hopping in the car and heading up to, I'm not exactly sure the area. I know it's near Hearst Castle. So on her birthday, we're going to a really nice restaurant and we're going to have a birthday dinner. I can't keep keto on that because I don't want to make her birthday weird.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy who's going to be like, okay, so what I need is 2 of this half of this thing and this thing and this thing, and I can't have any of that, and please don't bring this and don't do that. Which, when you're trying to eat out on keto, it gets a little bit like that, where you have to be very specific and odd. So for her birthday, I am having whatever looks good on the menu. I am going to have birthday dessert with her because it's her friggin' birthday.
You're gonna Instagram this stuff for us, right? So we can see what you eat.
I feel like I need to.
Yeah,
I feel like I've been Instagramming all of this working out and tips and all of this stuff that I have to do the other side. I can't just be the successes. I have to present.
No, but a cheat meal is not a failure.
No, it's not.
A cheat meal is a success in a way.
If I'm still eating the same way 3 days later, that's the failure. And I'm not going to lie. I'm worried about that. I'm worried about the mental break because I thought when I had lost all of the weight and I was doing really well and I was working out, hell, how many days a week was I there? I was there 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes with Scott, sometimes with Miles, sometimes by myself. I'd work out 3-4 hours and I'd come back the next day and do it. And I was really becoming athletic for me.
And almost obsessed, maybe.
Yeah, almost.
But you felt good.
I thought that I had finally figured it out. And I thought that I will never, ever be really fat again. Then the pandemic.
Yeah.
We had a bit of a unwanted house guest that created havoc for us. And at some point, all of this built up, and on top of my career coming to a dead halt during the pandemic, then the allergies hit. And I was covered in hives. And that's where my weight, because I lost all focus, I lost all ability to work out, to be comfortable, and I gained the weight. So there were external circumstances that are understandable, but I still broke.
Yeah.
And so I now carry a little bit of that fear in the back of my mind. What happens? I have this cheat meal. And back before all that happened, I'd have cheat meals. I'd have cheat weekends, and I'd go right back onto what I was doing. And it's a little worse doing cheat meals when you're on keto because there's that biological switch that keto throws. And if you're doing keto for a long period of time, you can weather the storm a little bit. You can have a cheat meal or a cheat day and not take yourself out of ketosis and not have to go through the readaptation period. But I'm 4 weeks in. So it's early on for me.
Yeah, I think it seems like when you have a specific diet, not just calorie deficit, but when you have a specific diet like you do, it might be harder to, do that cheat because you have to readjust everything. But if most people are just doing their calorie deficit,
it's not a problem.
It's not necessarily a problem to go back
physically
to go right back to it, back to your diet. You can have a cheat day or a cheat meal, and that's the thing. Like, I don't understand how like bodybuilders do it, where they like, oh, I go to a restaurant, and if I'm going out to a restaurant, like me, if I go out to a restaurant, I'm going to get something that I can't cook myself, or something that's unique to the restaurant. You know, I'm not going to get like a plain chicken breast with rice and vegetables, because what's the point of me going out, you know?
Yeah.
So I get it. I don't feel bad that way, you know? So I don't want you to feel bad.
I have a friend who's very much the Mediterranean diet, which is it's a bit of a lower carb, but it's more like slow carbs. He has a cheat meal every week. It's like a cheat day. And that cheat day would do your sumo days of calories proud.
Good.
But it's the one day, and it works for him. And he's not sure whether it does a physiological change by throwing off, he's very, very good on his diet for 6 days. And then here's this one day, and so that his body doesn't get into a pattern. Or if it's the psychological release where just like, okay, I really want this, but it's only Tuesday. I just need to make it to Saturday. And once I get to Saturday, I can have all the pancakes I want. He doesn't know why it works, but it works.
Here's what I don't want. I mean, I don't know all your listeners, obviously, but you have listeners who have come from different levels of starting. Like when I talk about like when I started my diet, it was calorie deficit, and that's the biggest thing. I don't want I don't want these people like listening to you like getting confused. Like, oh no, if Bruce can't do it, like what am I doing? Like
diets are individual. That's the thing people like have to understand. Like there was one of the diets I was put on early on in this journey was Eric's Lean Ninja diet.
Yeah.
Like this diet has worked for a lot of people. It has leaned down a lot of people. I literally couldn't function on it.
Okay.
And I did it long enough that there should have been some kind of switchover.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get through a workout at the gym. I'd come home and I'd sleep the entire day because I didn't have enough focus or energy or anything out of it.
Okay.
And I followed it strict. It didn't work for me. Keto and intermittent fasting is what works for me. Yeah. But that works for me. The whole point of the show, talking to everybody, is whoever you are out there, your body is going to respond to different things. It doesn't matter what the diet is. You have to figure out whether it works for you and also adjust it, because it's probably not out of the box going to work for you exactly as you'd like. You've got to make your little tweaks to it. Everybody's body is different. So it's important that you find what works for you. And hopefully I can bring you tips and I can talk about things and give you pointers along the way. But yeah, if something I do doesn't work for you, that's because you're not me.
So don't get them worried about your cheat meal, Bruce. You should embrace it.
I'm worried about my treat meal.
No, don't.
I'm embracing it.
You should embrace it.
I will.
Do you know the restaurant already?
Haven't a clue.
Okay.
I go into these things mostly like a small child being led and like, we're going, okay, this is great. Oh, look, this is nice. Ooh, what's the menu say? It has creme brulee.
Yeah. I mean, what if you go in there and there's a bunch of like ribeye steaks and you're like, give me 3 of those. And
I have so much red meat throughout my normal. Why in the world would I have a steak?
So what's your cheat? You think you're going to cheat on carbs or like
of course.
Pasta? Okay.
Like, I don't know what it's going to be, but if I'm going to have this off meal, me having a steak with a little bit of mashed potatoes, that it's, as you said, why would you go out and have some chicken breast with some rice with this? If there's a beef Wellington on that menu, you're going to go for the beef Wellington because how often in your life do you get that? So if I'm going to have a steak, it's probably going to be a beef Wellington. If they have it, I have no idea, but it might be some pasta. I'm going to find something that I'm not going to have again until next year, be it a pasta dish or actually, I've got to admit, my mind just stops at pasta dishes. It's probably going to be a pasta dish.
There we go. We figured it out.
We figured it out. I will have, ideally, there will be some kind of birthday cake for her, but who knows what they have available.
Yeah.
But there'll be a birthday dessert for her. And I will partake of that as well. and it'll be a high calorie meal, and it will not be a healthy meal, but it will be a very, very delicious meal, or I will be personally wounded in my heart if it's not delicious.
Or you can go on a workout the next day because, have you ever done that after a cheat meal? You go to the gym.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so much stronger after that cheat meal. So I mean, you're working it off. Because
another thing that I've done is back when I was on program, when I knew that I was going to have a moment like this, Christmas is happening.
Yes,
Christmas is happening, and if there's something that I do really well, and you know this for a fact, I make incredibly delicious food. It is a crime that I have to do keto with my ability to make the deliciosity that I make. So when Christmas rolls around, it's my caution bow ties, it's my kugels, it's my apple cake, it's these things. I am going, like, I can make the apple cakes and I can bring them to the gym and I can give them to people and I can flee and I can not eat the apple cake. But if I'm making the caution bow ties, I'm making the kugel, I don't want to go through that kind of effort just for you. Yeah. I don't like you enough.
Yeah.
I need to partake of that myself. So previously around the holidays, I would up my working out, and I'd also include a couple few day fasts as a sort of counterbalance. Also to help reset so I had this big insulin spike. I'm doing keto, but then I fast for a few days. And again, if you've not worked on fasting, and if you've not, don't just go I'm going to do a fast. Definitely research your fasting, get the idea of the mechanics to it, and start really, really slow. I can fast now for weeks at a time if I want to, but I started with a 1-day fast, and I spent that entire 1 day panicking. So if you're thinking fasts, start low, start slow, start simple, build up your tolerance, make sure you're okay with it, because some people aren't. Anyway, just
don't even get me started with your fasting, because I saw you when you did that. We were all amazed. How is Bruce doing that? I can't get. I can do a day if I need to, but I don't want to.
I know. Look, man, I call myself the fittest fat kid but dude, you're pretty damn fit for a fat kid. But
I'm a fat man.
You're a fat. I like how you say that. I'm a fat man. That's going to be really fun for the microphone. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't do that now. If I were fasting starting now, and I tried to work out the pathetic way that I'm working out right now, much less the way I did back then.
Well, back then was ridiculous.
Right. But the thing that you didn't see me do back then as well, while I was doing that fast, I worked out my normal working out, and later on that day, I would walk for anywhere from 10 to 15 miles. And I did that on a 2.5 week fast.
See, that's when it came to the obsession. It almost seems like almost too much to me. But again, everybody's doing their own thing. And you looked healthy, you felt good, you were happy, and you were still the cheerful, jovial Bruce that everybody loves. So
I felt fine throughout all of that.
Yeah.
But again, when just to talk to the theoretical listener, hi there, theoretical listener. I really hope you're enjoying this. I had done numerous small fasts to a couple 3-day fasts to my 1 week fast. And I was able to work out through that 1 week fast, but I wasn't really pushing it. Then I decided to do the multi-week fast. And that was when I was walking like crazy. But yeah, I couldn't even come close to anything like that right now. I would be suffering too much. That's why just right now I'm trying to adapt keto and getting close to how I could work out. Saturday felt good. I really pushed myself as far as I could go that day. And Scott said something that was neat, because he was like, how was it? I was like, oh God, it was so hard. He was like, it's always been hard. It's never not been hard. Just, it's just a little bit different way of being hard this time, but it was never any easier, no matter how many times we did this.
Yeah.
So again, that goes back to mindset, I think.
You're holding yourself accountable for with this podcast by letting people know, it's like, I'm getting back on it, and I need to tell these people whether you fail or not,
The reason for this podcast is whatever was going on in my head up until 6 weeks ago when this became an idea.
Yeah.
I had no way of holding myself accountable, and I had no way of restarting. I was 280 pounds at 11 years old. That I keep bringing that theme up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always going to be that 11-year-old because of the teasing, the abuse, the lack of, the amount of, for an 11-year-old, self-hatred over the weight. Because that's how people treat you, is certainly your peers at that age. So losing the weight was a big thing for me, because no matter what my positive qualities are, my self-image is directly tied to my weight. It doesn't matter my personality. It doesn't matter my skills, my ability, the way people react to me.
Yeah.
The lens I see myself through is purely weight. And I hate that about myself. I wish I could change that, but I can't.
Well, to be honest, it is everybody. It's not just you. It is everybody. Like
I think so.
When I got up too heavy, like what if I wasn't a sumo wrestler? What if I didn't need that weight? And then I'm like, oh man, like I said, I let myself go. What if I didn't need that weight? I'm just a big fat guy, because people see you that way. So I get it. At least I had like, oh, I'm 12-time US Sumo champ, and there's a reason for me being this weight. But to be honest, there wasn't. I didn't need to be that weight. I went from 385. I did a tournament in Milan at 385 pounds. I won it pretty easily. And then I went back the next year at 335 pounds, which is a 50-pound difference. And I won it just as easily. And I'm like, all right, well, that's a 50-pound difference. And so people are going to look at you differently. And if people don't know I'm a sumo champ, they just assume I'm a big fat guy. So I get you. I'm right there with you. But I think you're motivating people with this podcast to say, hey, yeah, you're holding yourself accountable, but you've done it before. You lost the weight before. You got it back. Now you're losing it again. I mean, it's just a thing, that happens.
It's just an effort and a distance in time.
But you know how to do it, right?
I know how to do it. I know how to do it for me, which is the important thing, and that's really what I'm hoping to help other people with, is them figuring out how to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
Without selling them bullshit.
Yeah. Well, like I said, like get down to the basics. You can do keto, or you can do, like I did carnivore for a bit, which I was just eating like 4 steaks a day or something like that. That was great. I was losing weight, but you know what? It was a lot of money.
God, yeah, no. Of course my body decides that if it, like, what it responds to the most is one of the most cost intensive ways of living. It's not cheap. It's like, you can't do it cheaply.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the other thing about it is now companies are putting out all their keto products, and they don't really help, because when you're eating naturally, so you're eating steak, you're eating real food, you're eating, like, the less processed the ingredients are, the better. Now, I'm not one of those people who like actually gets hung up on GMOs or natural.
Well, getting back to it, when you said you eat food, and that's the thing, I eat food. Mm-hmm. We don't eat packaged stuff that's not food. Like snack food's not food. It's not food.
No.
But people think, oh, it's going to fill me up. And it may, but it's not. It's garbage. It's not food, So,
specifically, snack food is designed for you to keep going. There's an army of scientists that work on that food to make sure that you don't put it down.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing too. But like all of our snack food, all the sugars and all the salty and this is like how we preserved food we couldn't get in the winter back in the day.
Yes.
And now we can have food all year round. They're like, oh, we'll just take these salty and sweet snacks, and preserved jams and stuff like that. All these preserved foods, and we'll just make people eat them like snack wise. But all these preserved foods were meant for wintertime when we didn't have food. So, but getting back to that, what I'm saying is your cheat meal that you're worried about, it's going to be real food. you're not going to cheat on, a bag of chips and a gallon of soda.
We've talked a lot about my one meal at this restaurant. But I want to circle back to the whole idea that, like, you're this dude who's a champion. I assume at some point you encountered sumo and something about it sparked you. Do you have a recollection of how that happened?
Well, to be honest, yeah, I saw a documentary on PBS called Sumo East and West, and they talked about, basically it was about the Hawaiians in the 90s, Konishiki, Musashi Maru, Akebono, who were going into sumo, and then they showed the pro sumo, and then they also showed, like, oh, there's actually international amateur sumo. And I'm like, what? I had no idea. And I found it so fascinating. And to be honest, I actually thought of an idea of a script that would include these characters, as opposed to me wanting to do it. It's like, because I was still in that writing mindset. It's like, oh, that'd be a cool story. But then I'm like, I want to try it. So I tried it. I wrestled back in high school, but I don't know if you know much about high school wrestling. If you don't pin the guy, it goes for 6 minutes. That's a long time for me to be doing this physical activity, like 6 minutes. Like I had the best pin percentage when I was in high school because I just wanted to get the match over with. I didn't want to go that 6 minutes, but I found sumo, like, it's 6 seconds, So I found it out, and I saw these people doing it in LA area, and I tried it, and I was above average. So really, I like fell in love with it right away. Like, when you find something that you can do pretty easily, and which is cool, and it only lasts 6 seconds, I'm like, oh, I'm good right away. Plus, chicks dig the uniform, so.
I mean, it is. You in no way, shape, or form mistake that uniform for any other uniform.
Definitely not. Maybe a little baby, but when you see the backside,
yeah, that's true.
It's not going to capture any wetness.
Yeah, it was great. Like, back on Saturday, me and Scott are like doing shoulder presses, and he's facing the window, and I could just watch him trying to be in his zone, but he just kept drifting over and looking, because on the other side of that glass there was you and Zach going at it.
Oh, Scott was okay. I thought you're talking about me trying to be in the zone. Really, no.
No, I mean,
there's a lot of flesh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Eric had a few new clients that day, and they're like, "Oh my God, what's going on here?"
It actually is a great selling point for him, because you don't get that anywhere else. It creates this unique thing. It was sort of like, I think XMA, which is it was a stunt training program. So when people would come in, and they're all around the ring were these people pretending to fight and doing all this like fun stuff. You don't get that at every gym.
Yeah, that's
and it kind of makes it like a cool visual that you then get to watch. And it's always fascinating. So I don't think it freaks people out. I think it makes people very, very happy to be like, oh, dude, there's sumo going on.
Yeah, like where do you see that? So.
Because almost everybody will ask you a question about it if when Eric introduces you, and they're like, "Oh wow, this thing, what is it? How do you do it?"
Yeah, and I'm free to answer honestly. I don't have any qualms about,
How long did it take before you had your first championship?
I started, I think 2005, and then I won in 2007. I lost the middleweight. The US championships. I lost the middleweight, but I won the open weight that same day, which is it was every weight class, so heavyweights and lightweights and middleweights together. So basically, that was the last year I was under 300, because I cut down to middleweight, and then I realized, like, you're not a middleweight, you're a heavyweight, So yeah, I bet 2 years. I fell in love with it pretty quick, and there was a point where I would go to anything I can go to and compete anywhere I could. When you're learning, you just taking in everything.
Experience. It's just nothing teaches you like experience.
Oh yeah, experience really helps. So, yeah, I was pretty. I don't want to be cocky. I was relatively good when I started. I think my body with my legs and calves being so friggin' big that it helped stabilize me, and I took it from there. And I think my willingness to put on the weight to be a better athlete. And that's one thing a lot of people do. I had a couple middleweights who were like, oh man, what, I get to this certain point, but what can I do to be better? It's like, put some weight on. Like, I don't want to put weight on. It's like, well, okay. That's your choice, you know? And getting back to like, did I need to put this much weight on? Nah, but I'm comfortable where I am now.
So Dan, where can people find you when they're not finding you here in my living room?
Well, unless they want to come to the gym with me and Bruce and get a sumo workout and a boxing workout, and I'm on Instagram. I think Sumo Dan USA. I don't do too much posting, but maybe now that they have the North American champions coming up, I might be posting some more.
You definitely should be.
Yeah. I'm busy. I'm an old guy. I don't need to post stuff to make me look good, like pouty lips and But yeah, Sumo.
Oh, you would rock a serious duck face, man.
Oh, definitely.
You got the cheeks for it.
Yeah, it's hard to fit me all in the one frame though, so I need longer arms. Yeah, I'm on Instagram and Twitter and the general social media. I think Sumo Dan on Facebook. If you have any questions about my diet, feel free to ask and I'll answer.
Of course, you can find the fittest fat kid at all the socials at Fittest Fat Kid. There still isn't a website, but there will be at one day, fittestfatkid.com. If you have a question, concern, I have concerns, but if you have concerns, or if you want to share a specific problem you're having or anything that we can answer, email us at hithere@fittestfatkid.com. If you're enjoying this podcast, please throw us a like and a subscribe, and maybe leave us a comment. We'd really appreciate it. And no matter who you are, where you are, hold yourself accountable, but do it with kindness and understanding. I'll see you next week.